Well, welcome to this extra show. We've already got all of 2025 in, Series 15 in. We're working on Series 16, 2026, and we're all the way through the first quarter into the second quarter. So this is just a little bonus here. I hadn't really planned on doing this, but I did pick up a new GardePro 8E camera, or E8 camera rather, a little less Dixie there, but it's an E8 is what we got going on here. It's a new box right here. This is an E8P. This one is an E8. And what's the difference between this one and this one? The E8 versus E8P, from what I can tell, all of these on this side are all AA battery type units where you can just change out those batteries as you need them. And yeah, they will get to you after a while if you're using a lot of them. This one is an E8P. And if I can get this open, I'll show you. Inside of this are some things I want to point out. This is, a lithium ion battery. It goes in and out. I don't want to change it because I don't want to change any of my settings, but it just comes in and out. And you'll notice there's my little plastic badge because this hasn't made it out to woods. You'll notice something that I do here. This says V8. And no, it's not vegetable juice, and I wouldn't necessarily rather have a V8, but I do have that on here. And what's the reason for that? It's because we have our different versions of our EEPROMs. There are 3 different SD cards here, small SD cards, that have the latest version. This was out of date when I got it, so we put it on immediately to the latest and greatest. Likewise, this one is a V6. This version is a little more enhanced. I think this one is a 64 megapixel. This one I think is also, turns out it was, I think 64 megapixels in the settings. Let's see if it shows up on the camera. And then the other 3 are, one of them's 48, and I think the other 2 would be then 32 because of their age. But each one of them has a little different version. 2 of them have the same EEPROM, or what do you want to call it, program firmware. So I have 3 of these, and this helps keep me straight, because this one was yellow. The V8 version, or V6 version, was, I think, white with blue lettering in it, and the other ones, because they're the same or whatever, just like they are. So anyway, it's just a way of me keeping that, because I don't want to flash the wrong version in the wrong place, and that's just an easy way for me to keep up with it. Now, these are Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi does work, but it runs your battery down pretty quick. It doesn't go very far, and you can't do like a security camera that's wired up to the house that goes very far. This one goes a short distance, and I think that's a good thing. I think the engineers had it in mind that they want to, and this is an assumption on my part. I'm not affiliated with Zopu GardePro, the company here, at all. Could be if they want to spot me some cameras, want me to do some work. If you want to do a full show where we put it out a year in advance and we get action with it, we get our deer and we show them going through the bits, that I do charge for that video, and you're getting a video production with an engineering aspect to it, not just promo. And so, just free gear's probably not going to quite get that if it's going to take 6 months worth of work. But here's the camera that I have, and it is a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit better, I think. I do use memory cards. I don't personally like the ones that have the built-in memory, unless GardePro wants to build a slot in it anyway. Now, if you want to build in permanent memory so that we get the best of that world where we don't have to worry about connections in the seating, if it gets a little bit of moisture being out in the woods or anything like that, that's great having that built in, but it's not really helping me with the way I use my cameras, where I change my cards out. I go in there and I pull the card that's in there, put a new one in there, format it, go back to the house and review them later on. It just works for me that way. You can use the Wi-Fi and do the download, and underneath here it does have a connection, which I don't particularly like this in this location. This is the battery on this one. If we go inside, I would prefer not having to open up my case to go in here to find my USB connector. I can do that, but that's a lot of work. And where I would put them up high up in the tree, I really wouldn't want to leave that cable hanging around, and I couldn't do it anyway because it's internal to the device. So beside of it, I would probably take the microphone, assuming that's what it is, or a temperature sensor, and move it somewhere else, okay? And then I would put my USB-C, I would put it, probably do dual channel if you want to, do a 3.2. Put it right there and have a separate little rubber cap for it so that I can get access to it without having to open the camera and all that kind of good jazz. Well, I've got a little inset video here because this is a little segment cutaway. We want to talk a little bit about how to mount these cameras and how I've modified my camera mounting from the way I used to. When I very first started, because I have property up behind the house and we had a history of people coming on the posted land, we had a little problem, had something go missing. So I was looking for a way to secure them. And one of the ways you can do it is you can run them way up a tree where they're a pain in the butt to get. And of course, these cameras that I like are Wi-Fi based, so that during season, what you can do is you can turn the Wi-Fi on. It will run the Bluetooth. When you get close enough to it, the Bluetooth is out just kind of broadcasting, and you connect to the Bluetooth, then it goes to the Wi-Fi, because the Bluetooth they're sticking to the same basic range, just a few feet. That works great. The problem is apparently the Bluetooth that they're using or have been using is fairly slow, and so you don't really get good data transfer. So you use the Bluetooth with the Bluetooth power to start up the Wi-Fi, which is also very low power, to give you that bandwidth that you're looking for to get your data in. And the new cameras I'm looking at, looks like they've done something in the upper versions of the ROMs where they are actually in the Wi-Fi mode giving you a much smaller kind of a thumbnail video, a much smaller resolution, just so you can see it, because you don't necessarily want to download the thing. So that's smart. I'm glad they finally implemented that. I think I suggested that to them at one point in time. Maybe not, maybe someone else. But you just get that kind of small thumbnail, just give you an idea. Is there anything there? Do I see a big old deer, or is it maybe a skunk or fox or something running around, a possum, that type of thing. So that's good. So in season, you can drive up. In my case, I drive up on a ridge and I can go ahead and hit the others. But it does, because it is broadcasting, looking for handshaking, somebody pick up, it does run your batteries down. And they've made some technology changes there. But anyway, I find that I would go up periodically, maybe once a month, while they were approaching season, open my camera, pull down my memory card, and then take it back, swap them out, put a new one in there, and go back to the house and, review the video there, which makes good sense. I like that part, because I don't want to plug in with any kind of USB and wait for them to download it all when I do it. The problem was being a pain to steal, being way up high and having to have a climber and some steps. It was also a pain to get to that camera to eject that SD card. So that wasn't so good. So I started mounting them down low, which brings me to my beautiful segue that we're going to go on right now. This is where we have to make a change in what we were doing, because, well, we'll just talk about after we watch the video. So here we have the overlay panel on. Now, what do we look like we see right here? Well, I think this is a nose, a schnozola right here, and I believe these are 2 tines of antlers poking out here. And you can see I'm about nose high where I mounted this on the particular tree where we're looking. We're overlooking a mineral site. Now, this is 10/17 at 8:48 a.m. camera 3. Let's go ahead and watch the video to see. It looks like he came back and wanted to check this out. I'm assuming that's what it is, because this is what we got. We've got this video, same scene. You recognize that broke tree right there. Now let's see what happens. So the mount that I was using to mount these cameras to get the right angle and all that is this thing right here. It's a homemade job. It's just a furniture screw and a ball joint, a cheap ball joint for a camera. You used to be able to get these about $2 on Amazon. And with that, it's because it's got a ball joint, you can get a perfect, you know, angle for anything you want to get your beautiful most spot right where you want it. And it worked pretty good, except for the tree rats, which would come down occasionally and knock it off. But you can really focus your angle. And then, as you saw, once I brought it down, because I'm old and fat and climbing those trees to make it difficult to steal, also made it difficult for me to get my cards, because I don't want to lose my camera in the winter when it starts to get cold and the batteries start to get a little bit weak because of the cold weather. I wanted to turn off the Wi-Fi just to make it a little more convenient. But that's what we have here. It's just a furniture screw, a rod end, a core, what are you going to call that? A rod connector right there, that through nut there. Works good, but it's not very stable. So after seeing it look like a deer move my camera around, in some cases maybe it was a squirrel as well would knock off. They knocked off my solar panels. I went to the garage or the well house, wherever it was, and I just picked out, well, that's something soft and cuts pretty well. This is just a piece of spa hose, and I use this around the well system because it bends and it's flexible and that kind of stuff. Well, I can then wedge this in between the tree and the camera at whatever length that I pretty well much need it to be. And if the camera's a little lean this way against the tree and I need a little bit longer, I can cut it a little bit longer. A little piece of little rubber hose, PVC hose, I guess is what it is. It's for spas. Now, like I said, so we have the original cameras, the E8s I have. This, if I happen to be a little crooked, it didn't really matter because I had that ball joint. So I'd get it exactly where I want it. That'd give me an estimate. I'd cut that piece of hose, wedge it in the back, and to hold it tight so we don't twist, is I just use one of the regular straps that come with the camera. They're pretty long, and they go through there. Now, as far as keeping the anti-theft, there is a cable lock system that I do use, and we'll talk about that when we get back up to the kitchen. We show that. But yeah, you see the camera get knocked down. 6 one way, half a dozen another. If you put it up high where it can't get stolen, it also probably won't get bumped unless, of course, it's a tree rat jumping on it from above. But then it makes it difficult to get in there. All right, so we use the solar panels, try to keep the batteries charged as much as humanly possible. But what about during the off season when we really don't want to be going up there on a monthly basis? We just want to track it, you know, between the winter end of season at the winter months all the way through the spring, and then come back and check it. That's when we turn our Wi-Fi off and we just let it do its thing and run off those solar panels. But yeah, that's a little something I want to show you on the mount. Got to make it a little more stiff, but yet that's working out so far so good. Now we'll return to our show. Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it. Now, one of the things I do like about the old body style, I made a mistake earlier and I ordered the 2 antenna version of this. The Pro, it's a something Pro, not GardePro, but it's a GardePro E8 version 2.0 Pro or whatever. And I sent it back because I didn't notice, although the pictures do show that Mr. Coordinated, as you can see. When I open this up, you see I don't have that little tab for which my latch can go through there, and I can put a padlock. Now, it's not a big padlock, and yes, because this is plastic, someone could just cut that off. But if someone were to steal your camera and then want to go sell it to someone, you know, they couldn't lock it back up, and they might say, well, you know, that's been tampered with. I don't know if I want something that might be stolen. I don't want to get it traced back to me. If they're just going to steal it for their own bit, that's not going to stop a lot, but it will do a little bit. But what it mainly does for me is it keeps people from tampering with it. Go, well, a-hole wouldn't let me hunt his property, told me to keep off or whatever. Well, I'll fix him. I'll just open up that camera and let the rain get in on it. I don't like not being able to latch that down. It's just a thing. And the way the security works, we're going through this hole up at the top where we're taking a cable. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a hole right here where we can pass our cable through. This secures the camera. This little path secures it to a tree, and there is a part for your ratchet strap to go through, your latch strap to go through here to hold it nice and steady. Well, what am I talking about here with my locks? Here's a small lock, and you might ask which one I use, and this is in fact the 131. 131Q just means it's a 4 lock set because got more locks over here. I got 4 of them. One of these malfunctioned on me. I think it leaked, and I swapped it out with a new camera, and the one that was damaged or whatever that I was going to go work with, well, it's on the side of the ridge there somewhere, and I haven't found it. So right now I need 4 locks, and I bought a 4-lock kit previously just around Target or wherever I picked them up at. I got the same things, but I got a 131T, and the T is just 2 locks. That's all the difference between the T and the Q is. 2 locks versus Q is 4 locks, and there's one for just 1 lock. But if you get them in a 4-pack, they'll all be keyed the same, and you won't have to fumble with your keys in the woods, which I have done. Now, this is how I secure it to the tree. It's not much of a lock, but it's better than nothing at all. It's at least giving the intent so that if somebody were to steal your stuff, they're certainly breaking, not just thieving, but they're breaking when they steal it. And this says it's Propel paddle gear key locking cable, 6.5 foot. And we have 2 of these kind of cylinder lock type jobs here, the round type. I put a little piece of shrink tube, and this one is yellow. The cable is yellow. So when I have the keys, I have 2 different sets. One key's on one set in the 4-wheeler, one key's in the house in case I lose them in the woods. And this just helps me remember that this is the key that goes with it. I don't have to fumble through 4 different tries to find it that it works. Yellow and yellow. I have a red one, blue one. You can color them because I can't get a 4-pack of these that are all keyed the same, or 6-pack or something like that. So they're all going to be unique. So I end up with 4 of that kind of Coke machine lock right there, and that is my little cable lock for the top. That works out okay. Now, talk about accessories. All right, well, this is the official GardePro solar panel, and it differs from some of these aftermarket ones that I use for the non-E8P models, the ones that use the AA battery. As you can see, very thin, very thin. See that? See that? See that? Everybody in the audience, see that? It's very thin, very small. And guess what? It's just a panel. Just a panel. And that's fine. In the box, we have our accessories. We have our little base, our little plastic base, and a big nut and some other stuff that we secure it to the tree with some long screws. Now, with this, works pretty well, I'm assuming. And if I read the online literature just right, because this has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, I think if we get in the sunlight, we can help recharge our P series up. That this will actually help store energy in the battery that's here, because if I'm not mistaken, when I looked at it, it's undoing it, it said, charge it through the 12-volt connection on the bottom, which is great. We can do that. This is a different style. This is similar to what I have on all these others that are out there in the woods. They are still working lovely. This is a couple years old. I just haven't put it in the series into use yet. And I will eventually buy a replacement 4th camera for the one that I lost that uses AA, because this is a little bit different. Now, if I can, and I haven't researched it, this one, you see how much thicker that is? This is heavier, much, much heavier, because this actually has a battery built into it. So what it does, it will store up and charge itself inside and run 12 volts down on that same connection. So it's a little bit different, a little heavier. Now, I mount them to the tree like this, and I noticed that a couple of them were down, and the only explanation I have for that, because they're up higher than where I don't think a deer can reach up that far. I think tree rats came by and eventually hit it or tried to sit on it or something, turn it. So I will soon put some long deck screws into the tree and kind of build a little 2 legs down at the bottom to just kind of keep it from twisting this way, and flattening out. And that should help keep my batteries charged. And I'll do the same thing with this one here. This panel is also good for multiple types of cameras because it is a multi-voltage type thing, and it secures the same way you might expect it, with a little strap and a little base with a little couple of ball joints, and you screw it to your tree. So I don't know that this is going to work with this type of camera. If it does, that would be even better because I can charge my batteries during the daytime, and the batteries then would then charge the camera battery if it would work, but I don't know if it will or not. So, you know, you just have to figure that out. So that's pretty well much a quick rundown. Like I said, last thing I do is I do swap out cards. This is some I bought just a while back, 128, and this does have a little faster bandwidth than some of the older ones that I might have had that were 80 megabytes per second, and of course 100 megabytes per second. This is 200. This just helps me a little bit, being a little bit faster with my card reader, so that when I'm down in the house it reads a little nicer. The class and series is the same on the SD cards as what the manufacturer recommends. So the little faster rate, only thing it's going to do, I think, is help you pull your pictures and videos in from your card to your computer. Well, that's it. I think we've got that knocked out, and we appreciate you watching. Again, this is not a compensated type thing. You can see this is their brand that I have bought in the past, and they have served me fairly well. As the generations comes up, the pictures and videos get better and better and better, and they get rid of some of the noise. I'm trying this with this one, putting the microphone to medium instead of super sensitive, and I may go, gosh, I wish I could hear that a little bit better, but I think it'll help knock down some of the air noise that we have when you know, it's that sound that you get on some of the videos. I think that's air, maybe not. But I'm trying on a little lower volume, see if I get a little bit better production, and maybe we'll see something next year. And if GardePro, if Zoku wants to get with me, they can give me a contact number, and we'll look at some of the other ones that they want to look at. But you'll have to get to me very soon in season 16 so that we can get the cameras out there, get them spying on the deer and the wildlife and the bobcats and whatever's up there, so we can get some good video to really flesh up the presentation. And that type of thing takes a while to do. It's not just like, well, I can do this in, you know, a couple hours on a Saturday. Appreciate you watching. See you next year.